lot, and I did a lot of drafting as a young person. I was actually working as a draftsman, and I was driving a school bus part-time, and on weekends I'd wash the buses, and then after I would wash one, this dude would come and hand letter the names, whatever township it was going to be for, and I was just so amazed. I'd never seen anything like that, and it just really clicked to me. I thought, I can do that. My name is Phil Vandervaart. I'm a sign painter, known as Sign Painter Phil. I do a lot of bartering. So I said, I'll paint your sign for free coffee for life. And 23 years later, it continues. So that'll end when I'm dead. Well, this coffee is great. I figure this might be my 10,000th cup. I grew up in somewhat of an engineering family. We came from Europe. I was born in Holland. Not only am I an immigrant, I came on a boat. This is the Cedar Cultural Center, kind of a good outfit. It's in an old theater, and they have international music from all over the world, which is what international music is, I suppose. Once I started to paint signs on the West Bank, that sort of escalated me into, being known in a sense, because I did so many signs in a small area. I kind of found my community in a sense. Being kind of an outcast myself, I found a neighborhood of outcasts. This is the infamous Palmer's Bar. This job was originally done in 1968. I've repainted it, actually twice. When I repainted it last time, I put this mug up there. So that's my contribution to the sign. And I figured, since he's 40 years old, I gave him a pot belly. That's my contribution too. West Bank will always remain dear to my heart as part of my story, really. I have all these pictures. Well, I've been doing it for 35 years. Earlier in my life, I was a naval photographer. I went to the Naval School of Photography. It's always been a big hobby of mine, but I've never been able to turn it into a living. But I recorded what I did, so most of it's just my storefronts, and a lot of it is people's logos that they give you and you just paint on there. It just has to be clear. It just has, the whole thing about signs will put you on the map, and that's the whole point of it. People have to remember the sign for the place that it is. So that's what I hope I've achieved through all this. I get a real good vibe from playing a harmonica. I try to set up a good vibe within myself, and then I try to transfer that vibe into my painting. I have this little compound here. Signs I used as the walls in this shed, in particular, are from the Mighty Ducks movie of 25 years ago and some TV commercials. So I actually painted these signs. They were used in the film, and then I got them back and used them as a building commodity. People like hand-painted signs, and there's a resurgence of interest. If you have an old sign and it's no longer relevant, you can put it in your house or your shop, and it's wall art. If you have an old vinyl sign, it's garbage. This year I'm doing a bunch of signs for the Renaissance Fair. I've done it before. Because it's the Renaissance Fair, they have Renaissance lettering. And then I'm just going to do Old English. That's based on the old Arabic hand movement. You have a quill, and you go this way, and it's thick, and you go that way, it's thin, and it's just based on your hand stroke. Painting signs is more work than it looks. And maybe I make it that way because I put so much thought into it. But when I finally get it done, I consider like half of it a function for the business and the other half sort of public art. And I want it to be really visual. I do want my signs to be like a living history of the city. I'm happy to finally be doing signs in my own neighborhood. I've worked all over Minneapolis. I work a lot in St. Paul. There's a lot of different focuses to sign painting. For me in particular, these ma and pa shops, brick and mortar, those I feel are my people. I hope that they do well in their business so that they continue to be here. The fonts I use is the old style, you know, the 20s and the 30s, and just block lettering, but, you know, really classy looking. To reflect the building, you know, try to make it as classy looking as you can.
Today we're going to put up that pattern. We put the pattern up first. That shows us the denotations of the banner. At which point we will then paint the banner. So we'll base coat it in a field gray, then do the fading and the blending. That's for you.
Forrest, my stealthy assistant, is phenomenal on many levels. He's already been 15 years in the trade, who's kind of turned into a partner.
Phil's work is so archetypal in the Minneapolis landscape that it's probably at times taken for granted. Phil taught me to draft and to draw and to deliberate before I begin my project and to utilize the tried and true methods.
I've read a lot of old books on sign painting, and there's one guy, it was somewhere in the 1800s, and he was saying in the book about when he paints, he had a screen around him so nobody could even see what he's doing, like painting on this window. And he said, yeah, I don't want to show anybody how to do it. Why should I raise chickens so they can pick out my eyes? That was his comment in the book. I'm thinking, oh, I don't know. I'm glad that people didn't feel that way about me because people showed me. So yeah, I think it's a part of it. I think if you know something, it's your responsibility to teach it. I remember the first sign I painted on my own was a gas stop, and it was just like magic in a way, and it was an incredible feeling. It was actually a physical high. That was really an addictive thing for me, so that helped me really get into it, and I hope that these young people feel that. It can be really rewarding.
Where's this paper from? This is just beautiful. This is a must. I like this one. That really looks three-dimensional. All right, let's keep going. This is good. My paper collection started actually about 7 years ago in Sydney. The right paper can make or break a piece. Oh, I like that one. This one's beautiful. I'm gonna start like a Dundee pile. And then, it's really growing into something. I now have big paper, printer drawers full of paper. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, ah! Within my latest body of work, I've really tried to push the typical idea of collage as an art form. Crocodiles actually do feel kind of leathery and rough like this. Not that I felt too many crocodiles. The biggest surprise people have when they see my work is realizing that it's made from paper. Are you gonna have to stop me from going over the top here? When I was younger, I used to do a lot of jigsaw puzzles and spot the difference puzzles, trying to find hidden imagery in artwork, which was children's storybooks. I guess the way that I would describe my work, it is really a combination of multiple layers of imagery and papers. It's really trying to gather a lot of stories and messages in one piece. My father is a native Minnesotan and my sisters and I were all raised in Sydney, Australia. There was a decade there that I worked side by side with my parents and we ran a very successful training business. But the artist in me was very much crying to get out, and so I decided to leave that role to move to Minnesota and follow the dream, which was to become a full-time artist. This here is my latest studio find that I use for my large pieces of handmade papers. Sometimes I'll pick up a paper and it'll be in my drawer for, 6 years. I won't know when I'm gonna use it, and then a perfect project will come along and I will be like, yeah, this is the one. I'm gonna show you a few of my favorites though. In here we've got my reds and oranges, and this is one of my absolute favorites. This is a beautiful handmade paper from Japan. The reason I use papers, I found with paint, I could never really get the fine, beautiful lines that I wanted. And it was when I started working with papers, using a scalpel and a blade, I got these beautiful fine edges. I have almost an unlimited scope of what I can play with. Some more Indian papers, and then some more beautiful papers used in my foliage and trees. I think the biggest step in my development as an artist was actually really moving into the Lower Town Lofts Artist Cooperative and being around other artists that I could get feedback from. And actually that's how I moved into collage. I decided to do some studies that were all in paper. And I brought them into my studio and I brought in two of the ladies and I said, guys, what do you think? And they just looked at me and they said, you should be working in paper. You can do stuff with paper that I can't even dream of. At the moment, I am working on two pieces. I really decided to look at who are two standout characters that tell a bit of a story of Australia. Ned Kelly and the Crocodile Dundee. One talking about historical Australia and one talking about modern Australia. My series as well kind of developed very organically. For example, I'd been working on my pin-up series, a subject matter I was very comfortable with, and I have a background in fashion and theatre design, so the costuming element was great. I was showing at a few different fairs and I had a lot of people coming up to me and saying, oh wow, this is beautiful, but have you done Marilyn, or have you done Audrey or Sophia? And so they were all of these fabulous women that they were hoping to see, and it really got me thinking, that's a whole nother area. So I went back and I decided to pick a Audrey Hepburn. And then I embed all of these other fabulous women that have done great stuff for girl power over the last century within that piece. And so that was really the beginning of this new style of work that I'm doing. I feel I'm creating something much more than the popular culture images. How I feel, I guess I'm really adding to the art world in my way is by weaving in this fabric of papers and also this fabric of hidden imagery. could maybe use the two of these and then maybe use this. I think that could look pretty cool. I get this feeling sometimes when I'm driving, I've left the studio and I'm on my way somewhere and it's almost like a tingle all over. And I can't tell you, it's the most unbelievable happy feeling in the world to think that I took a chance. You know, it's scary sometimes. Actually, it is scary, not just sometimes, but it is scary to put that kind of faith in yourself, to be able to make it work and to be able to now write, when I go back to Australia, on the customs card, I am an artist. That is my occupation, is a very, very cool thing. I pinch myself often, but I'm very happy.
I love color. I'm a very colorful person, and I'm really drawn to really bright, happy colors. Different colors have different frequencies, and they have different elements of healing energy to them. So I've been using that as an idea, a touch point with my art. So yellow makes people happy, and blue makes people calm. And so I'm purposefully using that in my art. I'm a multimedia artist, and I do many different types of art. I would say I'm a 2D, 3D, geometric illumination artist. I have a swing in my studio that brings great joy to me and brings people into the fourth dimension. They put on 3D glasses and they then are now in motion, and everything is both 3D and 4D. When people come into my studio, I want them to have this aha moment. And when they look at a painting, they just see something that's two-dimensional and flat. And you know, for years, paintings have always been just this flat element. I try with my paintings to really make them pop and have lines of energy that really come forward. But when you wear the glasses, it actually becomes 3D. So these lines are leaping out. My work today I call geometric illuminations. So I'm really using the geometry in terms of shapes and forms, and also illumination in terms of using lights in different ways. The evolution of my work really started when I had a painting show in Salzburg, and I spent time on trains with my camera. I figured out that slow shutter speeds allowed me to catch blur motion, and then I used that on my paintings. And one night I just threw one on the ground and I just grabbed my camera and I thought, I'm gonna see if I can make this thing come to life. And I just started taking pictures randomly, listening to music and really pushing it. What I saw was really amazing. Not everything was amazing, but maybe 3 or 4 images were just startling and didn't look like the painting at all, and it just was a completely new direction for me. I'll just grab one of these images and start playing with it, and I'll throw it into Photoshop and I'll start manipulating it by moving the sides and cutting and pasting and really transforming it from being just one flat rectangle image to make it into something that's much more intriguing to my eye and also more dimensional. It was a 2-year-long process of trying to figure out the best way to illuminate my work. And so I figured out a way to do dado print cuts into plexiglass and then mount these. It's a considerable amount of work, and it's also using the table saw as a paintbrush. So I've started moving beyond just doing wall-mounted things to making things that are floor-mounted or just elements that you can see without having it on the wall anymore. For the 2015 Northern Spark Festival, I created a rainbow pyramid light experience. It went through all the different colors of the chakras or the rainbow, they are the same, and also had chakra music that went through all the different colors of the chakras. And so the colors are healing and the frequencies are healing, and so the effect of color and sound and geometry can really be powerful on an individual. And so I want to create an experience that people could really be in the color field. I love the quest and exploration to create new things. And I have a gazillion ideas, and I have so many ideas that I haven't explored yet. I didn't know I would be doing this 5 years ago, and I can't wait to see what I'm gonna be doing 5 years from now.
Very casual, very laid back. We wanted to create an environment where local performers felt comfortable and not feeling like they're auditioning.
It's really fun to bring them all here and throw a party once a month where we have our friends sing show tunes to us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Musical Mondays at Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, welcome. Hi, everybody.
How about this?
How about this? Happy Monday.
This is a monthly show tunes showcase of local talent that we put together. This is our 31st Musical Monday. What?
How many of you have never been to a Musical Monday before?
Oh
my gosh.
I love it. That's so
That's
great.
Welcome.
Well, welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Our theme tonight is loose, but it's gentlemen's night.
As performers, we don't really get to sing a song all the way through. Often, in an audition, we're often given 16 or 32 bars. What we like at Musical Mondays is finding people having connections with different material that they might not be cast as.
And we're interchanging gender and age, and they can start to expand their repertoire as artists.
Thank you so much for being here. We're going to welcome up our first singer, Mr. Trey Searles.
First, I'm going to be singing Can't Help Loving That Man from Showboat, which is traditionally sung by a woman. Oh, listen, sister, I love my Mr. Man, and I can't tell you why. There ain't no reason why I should love that man. It must be something that the angels done planned. I've sung at Musical Mondays. This is my second time now, and singing or not, I come all the time. It's such a great experience for the artists of the Twin Cities theater community just to get together and kind of hang out and just be around each other. So it's a really great experience for us.
The music direction requires a lot of flexibility. We only get together in person twice, and the spontaneity of the crowd, the energy of the crowd, really turns on the performers.
Seen all the movie stars in their fancy cars and their limousines. Been high up the Rockies under the evergreen. But I know what I'm needing, and I don't want to waste more time. I'm in a New York state of mind.
We welcome participation from artists of all experiences.
We can put someone on stage who just graduated from college with somebody who's been on Broadway for 20 years.
We think it's important to be as inclusive as we can, because I think what makes the Minneapolis theater scene so special is that it is so inclusive and stretches many different levels of experienced artists.
And when the woman that you wanted goes, you can say to yourself, well, I give what I give. But the woman who won't wait for you knows that however you live, there's a part of you always standing by, mapping out a sky. Finishing a hat, starting on a hat.
Our goal as curators and as local artists and theater-going folk, I think, is to reach as many people as we can, and there will always be new artists to come join us and always new ears to come hear them.
And I said to myself, sit down. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. Said to myself, sit down. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. And the devil will drag you on down. With a soul so heavy you'll never float. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat.
Deep in December, it's nice to remember without a hurt. The heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow. Follow.
This program is made possible by the state's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.